G'day folks, it's Jack and Alicia here for the Be Mobile show. And today we are going to be giving you our top 5 back facts. Is bad posture cause of back pain, Alicia?
Well, that's a good question. And what can scans tell us about back pain?
And does your back wear out as you age? These are all questions that a lot of people have, and we want to answer them today with our top 5 back facts. So we hope you're pumped. Now, speaking of back pain, Alicia, I'm just going to have to jump here and say, well, it's pretty big, but I fell off a 50-foot ladder the other day.
What?
Right onto my back.
Seriously? Are you okay? What happened?
I am all right now, but thankfully it was only the first step of the ladder.
Oh, dear.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, I'll be here all week.
If you've got a better joke, post it in the comments below.
Yeah, actually,
we'll use that next time.
We should have a joke of the week. Can someone please tell me a better joke than that? Or can someone deliver it better at least? Anyway, we'll be here all week. So, welcome to the Be Mobile Comedy Show. It's a pleasure to have you. Okay, great. So I think we're just going to get straight into it. But before we do, make sure you post in the comments below saying hello, telling us where you're from.
Yeah, let us know where you're tuning in from. And also, if you have any questions as we go, pop them in the comments. And we also answer questions at the end if you have any about anything related to health, injury, fitness. For adults 55 plus, pop it in the comments.
No financial advice, unfortunately. But listen, let's get straight on to. I'm just apologies for today, ladies and gentlemen. Alicia and I are the producers because our producer is away. Young Oliver is away today. But let's talk about the facts. Fact 1: back pain is not caused by poor posture. Is it, Alicia? No.
So this is like a common narrative that I think. Well, I can certainly say that's something I grew up with. The idea that
absolutely,
if you spend a lot of time in a posture, and I think the image that comes to mind is the posture that Jack just took. So a very slumped posture, hunched over, that is going to be a source of back pain. However, all of the evidence in the past couple of decades show us that that's actually not the case.
Yeah, and this comes to posture when we're standing, sitting, posture when we're actually lifting weights. Okay, our spines are designed to lift and twist and bend and move in many, many different ways. Okay, so humans are big generalist creatures. We can do a lot of different things. And if, small amounts of change in your posture cause back pain, we'd be in constant pain. And there is no one correct posture to be in. And I would say it's probably more down to the total time spent in a posture, would you say, as opposed to the posture?
Definitely, because people, and I'm going to say myself included, when I travel and if I spend a long time sitting in a car or on a plane, I do get back pain.
100%.
But it's not that I'm sitting down right now, but I don't have back pain. As Jack said, it's more when you're in a prolonged posture for a very long time and we're not used to that. And also our body likes to move. It likes to be in different positions and postures. So being stuck in one posture for a long time can be a source of pain. Yeah,
and let's flip it on its head. Let's do some inverse thinking. If you stand in a perfect posture, let's just say, I am seated in the car like this. I'm in a so-called perfect posture. That's going to get pretty painful pretty quickly if I'm to hold that still for that amount of time. So if you just flip it on its head, you realize it's actually not very true, is it?
Yeah, so I think takeaway with posture is our backs are really, and our bodies are really resilient. They can adapt to being in a number of different positions, and it's also healthy to be in a number of different postures and positions throughout the day.
Now, Alicia, someone might say, but for me at the moment, whenever I slump forward, when I'm sitting, I get back pain. Therefore, that posture is bad for my back. And I guess we'd say, well, for the moment, maybe it is. Maybe we wouldn't recommend doing that posture for you because for some reason that certain posture is sensitive for your back. But what we're saying, inherently, there's no position which is bad for your back.
That's right. Indeed.
Okay. All right. Fact number 2, pain with movement does not mean you are causing harm to your back. And this is a really, really important fact to get on top of. And there's a good reason, because exercise is movement.
That's right.
And we want you to exercise.
We do want you to move. So Yeah, if you experience pain with a certain movement, just say a common one might be bending down and picking something up.
Yeah.
That is that's often it's a cause of back pain that people report. I picked something up off the ground and then my back was really sore. So it would be therefore pretty common to make the assumption that picking something up off the ground is a damaging, harmful movement and I shouldn't do it. But what is most often the case is people aren't prepared for that movement. You might be moving house, you're picking up awkward, heavy objects that you're not used to picking up. It's not that the picking something up is because if you picked up a pen off the ground,
it's the same movement.
It's the same movement. However, the load is much lighter, and we can build up a tolerance to movements when we practice them over time.
Yeah, that's a good point. And let's just say you have injured your back. You've done that movement, you injured your back. Your back is going to be sensitive for a time. That's what back pain is. It's sensitivity to certain movements. But one way to think about that sensitivity after you have hurt your back is like this. Have you ever been sunburnt? I have. Perhaps some of our Northern Hemisphere listeners hasn't been as sunburned as some of the Aussies. But after you've been sunburnt, you have very sensitive skin, okay? And it can be painful to touch. But when you have, let's just say, a hot shower that night, I wouldn't have a hot shower after being sunburnt. If you have a hot shower, it might be really sensitive on your skin and you might get a pain experience, right? But that doesn't necessarily mean you're causing more and more damage to your skin. It's just because it's a very sensitive area and you're pouring more hot water onto it, which is causing pain. The same can be thought of as your back. If you have had a back injury recently and you've still got very sensitive structures, the healing may have happened and you're not causing any extra harm. It's just that you're moving a sensitive area.
Yeah, and that might then mean that you are avoiding those sensitive movements while your back is aggravated and you're experiencing a lot of pain. And then slowly over time, you can reintroduce that movement. So even just to show you, so if it was picking something up off the floor, and that when you have acute back pain, that can be excruciating and even impossible to do. So over time, you can even work your way back to that just by sliding your hands down your legs, even just to the level of your knees, and then over time working further and further down. So a graded exposure to that movement.
Start low, go slow.
Yes.
Excellent. All right. I'm just doing a quick check of the comments, Alicia, because we have people streaming in from everywhere. We've got people from Bendigo. We got people from Gympie, Ballarat, Powelltown, Townsville. God, I'm not going to read everything out. Although Jillian does say don't slouch.
Don't slouch.
She said it with a laughing emoji. So yes, that's what all the teachers would have told you at school. But we think a variety of movements for your posture is actually the best. I'm sometimes slouching my chair at work because I'm just tired, and that's absolutely fine. And then other times you find me doing squats and deadlift with a really proud chest. It's all good.
Well, I think posture can matter. It matters for aesthetics, doesn't it? I mean, you're not going to go and, watch like a ballet performance and see the dancers slouching. No. So it matters from that point of view, but in terms of posture correlating or being a cause of pain, we know that's not the case.
Yeah, I think it's great to have a tall, nice, proud posture, Don't doubt yourself. Okay, fact number 3. This is really important, this one as well. Scans rarely show you the cause of your back pain. And we're actually going to get a graph up here in just a little bit. But Alicia, if anyone out there has ever had a scan, have you ever had a back scan before?
I have had one of my neck.
Okay, you've had a neck scan.
My spine, but not my lower back.
Okay, we'll treat it. It's still the spine, right? Yes. So, did any scary sounding findings come up on that scan?
Yes.
Can you tell me something?
So there was osteophyte formation and a bit of narrowing of foraminal narrowing.
Oh God.
This is something we see a lot. We see people that get bit of degeneration. So we see a lot of people that have had scans and are really scared and fearful at what they have, the findings that have come with those scans. Yeah,
and comment below what the scariest findings you've had in the scans are, because those findings that Alicia was just talking about, facet degeneration, disc signal loss, disc height loss, disc bulges, These are actually all pretty normal findings. We're going to speak about that in a minute. What isn't normal findings are things like fractures, tumors, infections, things like that. Okay, and these are the reasons we get scans, is to rule out those serious things, those serious red flags. Okay, but let's talk about what is common, and let's show you an example.
Yeah, let's get this graph up.
Okay, so we're going to bring this graph up on screen. So what you're looking at, and you can see the title there. This is from a particular paper. So this is the findings. So basically, they took a whole lot of people and they did scans of them, okay? But all of these people, and their ages from 20 to 80, all of these people had no symptoms.
No back pain.
Asymptomatic, okay? And what you can see there, so have a look at the top there. I think that was
it's
blue.
Highlighted in blue. Yes,
okay, that
Jack
is,
is colorblind, but that is blue.
And I did the highlighting. So I think that's the blue highlighting. We've circled disc degeneration. So this is the finding that they've had in the X-ray. This is people without any symptoms. So if you're in your 20s, there is a 37% chance that you will have disc degeneration findings in your scans without any back pain. If you go into your 30s, it's 52%, 40s, 68, 50s, 80%, so on and so forth, all the way up to 96% likelihood that you'll have these findings in your spine in your 80s, even though you have no symptoms. Alicia, should we talk about disc bulges? Because that's common.
And I think that the disc bulge is something that, like, it's really scary sound. They all sound scary, but a disc bulge is something we often hear people refer to. And as you can see, it is the same pattern. So in 20-year-olds, there's a 30% prevalence. And as we go up in age, the prevalence of disc bulges increases. But we're remembering that none of these people have pain, even though in the 80-year age group, 84% of this age group has disc bulges.
There you go.
So I guess this then raises the question, how much do these findings mean? And the answer is we don't know 100%. So it's possible that some of these findings on a scan may be contributing to your pain.
Yeah.
But we know that they're not 100% the cause of pain, because there's people that have these findings have no pain. So we think that these are more age-related changes. They're like having wrinkles or grey hairs.
Wrinkles on the inside.
Wrinkles on the inside, or grey hairs as we get older, and they're not a source. They shouldn't be a source of worry, because they can cause people a lot of worry.
Yeah.
And it's understandable, because if you're told, you've got all these findings, and you think, well, there's nothing I can do about those things.
Yeah.
So, but
exactly
here's
right.
the best news, is that your pain can change. You can have back pain, and then your back pain can get better without any of these things on imaging changing.
That's right. There you go.
Yeah.
I always like talking about those scans. I think it's a really powerful metaphor for our back. So got a couple of comments here. So Wendy, this is interesting. Wendy says she had back spasms for around a week after doing fast deadlifts in one of the programs. I should have dropped the weight, still sensitive, but on the mend. Yeah, and that's a really good example of that point too that we're talking about. You can still have pain with movement, even though your back is already on the mend. And yes, probably should have dropped the weight. I think that's a good idea. Always starting low with a low weight, with a light weight, and then slowly improving.
Yeah, but sometimes in the moment you don't know till afterwards that the weight was a little bit too heavy, but a really good reflection there.
And then Sharon says, hi from Brisbane. The topic is very timely as I woke up with a very painful lower back today. Panadol, back and stretching have helped somewhat, but I'm hoping a glass or two of medicinal wine this evening might fix it properly. Yeah, as long as it doesn't give you a bad sleep. I would avoid the alcohol close to bed if you want to avoid having a bad sleep, because sleep is one of the best recovery tools we have. But yeah, Sharon, I think you're doing the right stuff. I would continue to move as much as is possible and is tolerable.
Yeah, even if that's just walking, because that is one thing we know, the low back pain guidelines recommend continuing to move in a way that you can and avoiding rest.
Yeah. And then Carolyn lastly says, I get lower back pain if I'm sitting for long periods, but it goes when I move. And that's a great example of how posture doesn't really matter. It's more about how long you spend in certain positions.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's move on to the fourth, I believe, fact. And this is one which is very relevant to our audience over 55, is that getting older is not a cause of your back pain. And now some people may think, well, what do you guys know? Jack, you're 32 years old. Wait till you, I hear this all the time in our groups that we have up here. Wait till you get to my age, people say, you'll have more back pain. But what we know is that it's not so true, is it?
No, because we know that back pain affects people of all ages.
Yeah, and pretty equally.
Yeah, all across the lifespan. And treatments at any age can help, particularly keeping moving.
Yep.
And that's, as I mentioned, that is part of the low back pain care guidelines that are based on tons and tons of research.
There's so much research around low back pain.
Yeah, yeah.
So just with that, it's not about age. Like we just spoke about the image findings going up over time as you age. So you're more likely to have a disc bulge as you get older, but that doesn't mean you're necessarily more likely to have pain, because what we know about pain is it's equal across all age groups.
Yeah.
So just really want to bang that one home. Great. Okay, that's a nice simple one. I just jumped back to the comments. We've got lots of people getting in here. Beryl says, I hurt my back many years ago, resulting in damage to my sciatic nerve. Very painful. It did heal eventually, but then I had a stroke. I'm doing okay now. Yeah, so sometimes things take a while to heal, but glad to hear you're doing well, especially after the stroke. And then Poppy says, regarding posture and pain, that's good to know. I do feel my posture has improved since doing weights. Yeah, excellent. Maybe it's just like do you think it's like a mindful thing? Like I'm mindful of, when I'm doing this exercise, I'm puffing my chest out and I'm...
Yeah, and then you feel potentially more aware of your muscles because you're actually working them.
Yep, I like that. And then Jillian says, I currently have low back pain and pain going down into my right leg. It is ongoing. What are the best exercises for this, please? We're actually going to talk about that, Jillian, in the Q&A. We already have a question about that. Great. Okay. Let's move on to the fifth and final back pain fact, and that is that backs do not wear out like a car would.
No, and I think that's a common misconception. And again, something that I grew up with, and even in my early days of physio, this concept that we're going to wear out our joints, and we're like a car. We need to when the parts start wearing out, we need to replace them. However, our bodies are living. Our living tissues, our bones, our muscles, our tendons, our joints, they're living, and they respond to stress by growing and adapting. So I think that shift in mindset from, viewing our bodies as this mechanical sort of vehicle that gets us around but wears out, versus this sort of ever-changing dynamic structure can really help sort of, it's an empowering view, because rather than, I think just how resilient we are rather than being fragile.
Yeah, and one of the things that a lot of people don't know that, especially in our backs, when we compress our vertebrae together, and we have our discs in between. Discs probably isn't really the best word for that, because it kind of sounds like something that can slip in and slip out. It's very solid structure, very malleable. So with our vertebrae, when they compress, we actually get nutrients into our discs and our spine that we need. Okay, so compression is one of the most important things for our knees, our backs, our hips, pretty much every joint in our body. So if compression was the worst thing, you'd find people who, hold up in bed. You would find those people the strongest and fittest and longest living people, but they're not. Okay, and this is pretty obvious when we think about it like that.
Yeah, and one point you just reminded me of, which relates to a previous fact with the findings on a scan, is that disc bulges can and do heal.
Yes.
Even though they don't have to for you to experience a reduction in pain. But that is something worth noting, that if you do have a disc bulge, that is something, because as you say, the tissues adapt and the bulge can be reabsorbed into the disc.
Yeah, and interestingly, the bigger the disc herniation or disc bulge, the more likely it is to go all the way back in.
Yeah,
anyway.
it's fascinating, isn't it?
And then the other point is you're not likely. Not likely. There's not a correlation between the disc bulge and symptoms that you'll have anyway, because we just talked about all those people with disc bulges not having any symptoms. So, yeah, at the end of the day, you don't even need to worry about the disc bulge. Yeah. Okay. There's an interesting comment here from Angela, Alicia. See, this is about her neck. I went to see a physio with neck pain and was told there was severe wear, but was told that exercise would strengthen the muscles, which should relieve the pain, which it did. I have no pain now. And
fantastic.
Yeah, I wouldn't be thinking of, because I think I know where Angela might be going with that, in terms of a lot of people think that by strengthening the muscles, it relieves the joint. It
takes the load off the joint.
But but that's not true. When we strengthen our muscles, we actually load the joints up even more, and this is beneficial for them. So even people with so-called severe wear on scans, some of those people may have no symptoms. Even if they have those severe wear on scans, some people may have symptoms, but it's all about slowly building up your tolerance to certain movements in your neck. And obviously strength training has helped that. So well done, Angela.
That's right. And pain is very complicated. We don't fully understand it, but we do know when you have ongoing persistent pain, our nervous systems become sensitive. So like Jack's saying, it's not necessarily that improving the strength of your neck or your lower back is what's resulting in a reduction in pain. But often when you expose yourself to these movements and build up more of a tolerance, our nervous system can become less reactive and less sensitive, and it becomes desensitized over time.
Great point. And then Judith says, I've suffered back pain since I was young. It's what you were doing, like sitting too long rather than your age. I completely agree. Okay, folks, that was our top 5 back pain facts. Just to reiterate them. Fact 1, back pain is not caused by poor posture. Fact 2, pain with movement does not mean you are causing harm. Fact 3, scans rarely show the cause of low back pain. Alicia, I'll let you take
fact 4, you don't want to do them all. No. Fact 4, getting older is not a cause of back pain. And fact number 5, backs do not wear out.
Great. Love that. Okay, folks, listen, we are going to move on. Firstly, I just had some member announcements that I wanted to talk about. So I'm just going to make sure I know what I'm doing here, which is always hard. Actually,
okay, so we have a lovely little photo there that you snapped.
I was going to just quickly share this because one of the members in our membership Facebook group, because I shared this in the membership Facebook group, told me to share it for all of our international listeners and watchers out there. So this is a gorgeous little photo I snapped. I'll tell you how I snapped it. I love bird watching and animal watching, and I have a pair of binoculars. And because the iPhone doesn't really zoom that much, I actually put the camera of the iPhone on the end of the binoculars so that I could see, what I was shooting. And this is a camera shot through a binocular, which is really cool. And this is just in a place called Bilpin, just kind of above the Blue Mountains. Yeah. This is a gorgeous little fella, and it's very, very rare in this part of New South Wales to see koalas like this. I know in South Australia and Victoria they have quite a lot.
Yeah, I've seen. I saw a koala down on the Great Ocean Road.
Oh, nice!
Quite a few years ago, but it was actually on the road. So my husband had to get out and help usher it along. Oh, good.
I was going to say, hopefully you're not wearing it as a scarf or anything like that. So they're such beautiful creatures. They just sit there and just watch you as you go past. And we were so lucky. My wife just was walking, boom, we just spotted it. One of the people said they hadn't seen one in 40 years. So the luck's out of control. We were just so lucky. Anyway, I thought I'd just share that.
Very cool. All right. So we have some member announcements. There are a few meetups happening. So all the information is in the Facebook group. But
our membership Facebook group, obviously our private membership Facebook group.
Our membership Facebook group. So Perth people are having their regular get-together on Friday, the 30th August. Mari, or Mary, I think I'm saying it correctly, Mari is organising a meetup for Sydney-siders in September. And same with Beryl. She's organising a meetup around Ballarat in late September.
Go Ballarat.
Yes.
Lovely. The Ballarat B-Mobiles. Love that. Cool. And also just one more member announcement is that, folks, remember, for our online members, we've just released Aerobics Circuit 7. How good is that? So we've got Mickey Magic and Clarence out there doing that. So that got released on Tuesday. So make sure you jump into the cardio library and give that a cardio circuit or aerobic circuit a go. It is, it is a really great one.
Yeah.
Isn't it, Alicia?
It is very good.
Alicia and I were filming some step aerobic. Oh, sorry, not Alicia and I. Randy and Madge were filming some step aerobic circuits for the members today. So you got that to enjoy. Beautiful.
All right. So let's move on to our Q&A section. So remembering that, we're not able to assess you in person and give specific advice. Right. We're just giving general advice here. So Trish, one of our members, asked, I get lower back pain if I sit for too long. How can I strengthen this area? Currently, I do 2 strength sessions, 1 balance session, 4 Pilates classes, and 5 to 6 days a week I run. Yes. And I still have lumbar weakness and pain into my right buttock. I need solutions, guys. You've fixed my frozen shoulder. Now, please fix my lower back butt pain.
Great. Thank you very much for the question, Trish. I'm going to go ahead and say I don't think you would have any lumbar weakness at all. The fact that you're doing 2 strength sessions, 1 balance session, 4 Pilates, and you're running 5 to 6 days a week would say to me that you probably have a very, very strong back. Now, you can still have a strong back and have some pain in there, but you definitely wouldn't have a weak back. So we're not going to be able to fix this for you. However, we can give you some general advice. If you're getting it when you sit for too long, if you're getting this pain in your lower back, I would just suggest, like we spoke about for the posture, I would suggest just not sitting as long. So if the pain comes on after half an hour, well, then get up at 25 minutes. Just expect that it's going to happen and get up earlier and move around because you're clearly someone who likes to move a lot. The next thing to assess would be if you've suddenly increased the amount of exercise that you're doing a lot, but if you've suddenly increased, from 4 to 6 runs a week, and now you're starting to get a bit more back pain, it may just be that you're doing too much too soon, and you need to draw back a bit and then reintroduce your running a bit more slowly, for example. And I just picked running there just as one example.
Yeah, I think that's great advice, Jack. And I'm not sure whether when you're sitting, whether you're needing to do work at a computer or if it's when you're driving, but just if you are needing to do work at a computer, set a little timer every however amount of time it is. Like Jack said, if it's needing to be 20, 25 minutes, you get up, have a little walk around, do a few squats, it's breaking up that prolonged sitting, which seems to be the source of the pain for you.
Great. No, I think that's good advice. But I just really want to reiterate, Trish, I do not think your back is weak.
No, and we discussed that earlier in terms of that a lack of strength is not a cause of pain, and getting stronger isn't necessarily a solution to getting out of pain either.
That's right.
Yeah.
And Trish says, a pain also when running at times have gradually increased my running. Even if you've increased your running, some weeks it might be worse than others. So I certainly know for myself, and Alicia, you're probably the same, that some weeks you do the exact same as you did the week before, but you're more sore. And that's because there's other things like recovery, like how were you sleeping that week? Did you have a lot of late nights? Did you go out drinking with your friends? And, do you have
a lot on your mind? Do you have a
lot of stress?
Stress, family stress, work stress, all these different things.
That's exactly right.
That all contributes to our pain. And you know what? Sometimes we just have an increased level of pain and we don't.
It's hard to know why.
It's really hard to pinpoint why. But potentially, scaling back a little bit, maybe dropping a run or running a little bit less or reducing it a little bit for a week or two and seeing if that changes your back pain.
Bit of a test, a scientific experiment.
Yeah.
Great. Thanks, Trish. And Mary in our Facebook group, she was kind of adding on to this, and she said, my bone density, so this is adding on to Trish's comment, my bone density scans show osteopenia in lower back, even though I've been walking all my life. I'm feeling disheartened. And we hear you, Mary. That can suck when you do all this work and you're thinking, oh, why isn't my bone density going up? I'll just start by saying that bone density naturally goes down as we age. Okay, so it's not something that stays normal across a lifetime. In fact, I think you can lose. I'd have to think about. I'm thinking of muscle mass here, 3 to 8% per decade, but I forget the exact stat for bone density. But you definitely lose naturally.
It declines naturally with age, and then also post-menopause with the loss of estrogens protective of bone health. So then it drops off even more post-menopause. So it's an uphill battle, but you say that you do a lot of walking. Now that's great, and that is a weight-bearing exercise. However, it doesn't provide a lot of stimulation for bone.
So Alicia, do you want to chunk that up, osteo?
I will.
We've got a couple of
links. So I'm going to post a few in relation to Trisha's question, and I forget, somebody else in the comments also asked about sciatica.
Yeah, great.
So I'm going to post a video about sciatic pain, which also has 3 exercises to do, and I'm going to post a video on osteoporosis and impact exercise. If you want to talk a little bit about what the benefits of that.
For sure. So these are a couple of things. So walking is not enough stimulus for your bones to grow, okay, or maintain your bone density. Walking is a great form of exercise. I personally love it. I recommend it for everyone. I think walking is one of the greatest ways we can get around. But the actual reaction that you get, so when you step on the ground, that ground reaction force is not enough, nor is the muscle force from pulling on the bone enough to actually increase your bone density. What you need to do is kind of 2 things. You need to be doing some heavy weight training, okay? So like we're doing in our programs, lifting some heavy weights so that when you get to the end of that, 20 to 30 seconds of lifting weight, it is getting pretty hard and you only have a couple of repetitions left in the tank. So that's really important to challenge yourself in your strength training with big movements like deadlifts, squats, overhead presses, push-ups, all the things we do in our programs. Number 2 is impact exercise, which we also have in our program. So this is things like jumps. So holding onto the kitchen bench and doing some impact jumps, landing in that squat. Once again, the impact is the thing, the ground reaction force. So when you land on the ground, the force goes back up through your bones, and that tends to make your bones adapt, and we can build bone density. So those are the things I would be concentrating on. And Alicia has just chucked those 2 videos
those in the comments.
So we highly recommend getting in there. Okay. Thanks for the question, Mary and Trish. Great. And that's your comments, Alicia. I probably won't bring them up. Excellent. Well, listen, Gillian says she loves the new aerobics. Right. And Lisa said he's much paler than the ones we have here in the Yarra Valley. Now, she's not referring to me, but of course I am quite pale.
It took me a second to think about what you were talking about there.
Yeah.
The koala.
The koala. So I'm not sure why that is. I guess each koala in each different part of Australia is going to be different. Okay, Alicia.
Okay. All right. So we are finishing up with one of our awesome members, Karen, who posted this about the Roman baths and exercise. So you are going to post a video there.
So I'll post the photo. If you don't mind chucking the video link.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I can post that in.
Yeah, there's a great video link there. So one of our members, Karen, she has obviously been around the baths somewhere in England. I'm not sure if it's actually Bath or Exeter, Roman city or something like that. I'm not sure. But anyway, this is a great quote from Seneca. So a lot of people think exercise is a new age thing. It's not. People have been doing it for a long time. The Romans were very good at it. In particular, they loved wrestling and lifting weights. Sounds like my type of place.
You're a wrestling fan, aren't you?
Yes.
Jiu-jitsu, yeah.
Jiu-jitsu, yes. So here's a quote from Seneca. In the baths, I hear a strenuous gentleman exercising by flourishing leaden weights. When he is working hard or else pretending to, I can hear him grunting and panting in wheezy and high-pitched tones. So that was, that's a great quote. So the Romans were doing it. They were pretty successful people. So we recommend following the Romans and doing some weightlifting and making sure you're grunting and panting in wheezy, high-pitched tones while you do it, folks. Very, very important.
I like that. Okay.
That's it from us.
All right. thank you for joining us, and we will see you next time.
See you later, folks.